The night sky above the Arizona desert shimmered with stars, an undisturbed silence stretching across the sandy expanse. But as the clock struck midnight, a strange green light split the darkness, sending ripples of color across the dunes. A sleek, metallic ship, shaped like a crescent moon, descended slowly, hovering just above the ground. The air buzzed with an otherworldly hum, as if reality itself was bending to make room for the arrival of something unknown. Inside the ship, the Zer'n observed Earth's landscape through their holographic screens. Their gray skin glowed faintly under the ship's dim lights, and their large black eyes darted over data, streaming in strange symbols. The leader, Zorax, stood taller than the rest, with an air of authority and curiosity. He gestured toward the projection of Earth spinning in front of him, a planet rich in resources, a tempting target for conquest. "We have arrived at a planet with primitive technology and an abundance of resources," Zorax declared to the gathered crew. "Our objective is simple: study the inhabitants, assess the risks, and determine how to secure this world for the Zer'n Empire." The Zer'n were confident in their technological superiority. Their homeworld, Zyraxis, had long surpassed the need for physical conflict, relying instead on energy manipulation and mind control. They assumed that Earth's dominant species, humans, would pose no challenge to their plans. However, their knowledge of human behavior was limited to intercepted broadcasts, garbled news reports, and the faint transmissions of Earth's digital communications. As Zorax activated the ship's cloaking shield, making it invisible to human detection, he dispatched a fleet of small observation drones. These drones, no larger than a dragonfly, buzzed through the night air, slipping into the nearby town of Redstone, a quiet place with a population just under 1,000. They perched on rooftops, streetlights, and even the tall cactus that dotted the landscape, recording the humans as they went about their evening routines. The Zer'n watched the screens closely, but the scenes that unfolded before them were anything but predictable. A man walked his dog, chatting with his neighbor, his laughter echoing through the night. A couple argued outside a diner, their faces flushed with anger, while inside, a waitress comforted a sobbing teenager. The aliens observed the rapid shifts in tone and expression, the way humans seemed to react intensely to seemingly small events. Zorax leaned closer to the screen, displaying the arguing couple. He observed how their faces twisted with anger, their voices rising, and then, without warning, one of them softened, reaching out to embrace the other. Tears mixed with laughter. Zorax's brow furrowed in confusion, unable to fathom how the tension could shift so suddenly. This volatility was foreign to him. What is the purpose of this emotional outburst? Zorax wondered aloud, his voice echoing through the control room. The other Zer'n exchanged nervous glances. They were trained to control their thoughts and maintain emotional neutrality. Anything less was considered weakness. Yet, these humans seemed to thrive on the chaos of their feelings. As dawn approached, Zorax gathered the reports from the drones. The data was rich with human activity, but lacked clarity. For every instance of aggression, there was a counterbalance of compassion. For every display of sorrow, there was an act of kindness. Zorax struggled to understand how these contradictions could exist within a single species. His unease grew, but he dismissed it as a minor obstacle. "Prepare for further investigation," he commanded, masking his doubt. "We will make contact with the humans tomorrow. They are primitive, but their behavior must be understood before we proceed with our plans." As the Zer'n ship remained hidden in the dark desert sky, Zorax could not shake a lingering thought. Perhaps Earth was not as simple a conquest as he had believed. The humans possessed something elusive, something that did not align with the Zern's rigid logic. A faint creeping sense of unease began to curl in his mind, one he would not admit, even to himself. But for now, the Zern held fast to their belief in their superiority, unaware that what they feared most was not Earth's technology or weapons, but the very nature of humanity itself. The next night, as the town of Redstone lay bathed in the pale glow of moonlight, the Zern ship descended quietly onto a barren patch of desert outside the town. Zorax and two of his crew, dressed in their sleek silver exosuits, stepped onto the dusty ground. Their figures shimmered under the glow of the ship's landing lights, a sight so alien that even the coyotes in the distance fell silent. Zorax adjusted a small device on his wrist, activating a translation module. The Zern could now mimic human speech, although their understanding of human language remained basic. As they approached the outskirts of the town, the lights of a gas station came into view. Along with a handful of humans, 3 men huddled together on the porch, chatting over late-night coffee. Zorax and his crew stepped forward, their presence immediately drawing the attention of the men, who fell silent and stared at the strange visitors. The Zern's skin reflected the moonlight, giving them an ethereal, ghostly appearance. Zorax tried to recall what the drones had observed about human greetings. He raised a hand, emulating a human wave, and spoke with a mechanical accent. "Greetings, humans. We come in peace." The men exchanged puzzled looks, their expressions shifting from curiosity to suspicion. One of them, wearing a faded trucker hat, squinted at the Zern, taking in their appearance. He chuckled, more out of disbelief than humor. "Y'all in some kind of movie shoot or something?" he asked, his southern drawl thick. Zorax's expression remained blank, failing to comprehend the humor. He gestured again, more urgently this time. "We are explorers. We seek understanding of your kind." The conversation quickly took a turn as the tension escalated. The men sensed the strangeness of the situation, their voices rising as they questioned the Zern's presence. One of them, growing frustrated, reached into his truck and pulled out an old hunting rifle, pointing it at the ground between himself and the aliens. His hands shook slightly, but his voice was firm. "Look, I don't know what y'all are playing at, but you best get out of here before things get serious." To the Zern, this was no mere gesture. Their technology could neutralize the weapon easily. But the act of raising the rifle, combined with the man's adrenaline surge and racing heartbeats, triggered an unexpected reaction in Zorax and his crew. The tension in the air was palpable, filled with an unspoken threat that the Zern could not interpret with their logic alone. They could sense the humans' fear mingled with aggression, a volatile mixture that unnerved them deeply. Zorax's hands twitched as he struggled to maintain control over his own rising fear. His gaze darted between the man's hardened expression and the rifle. The Zern had no word for the kind of defiance they were witnessing, no way to understand why this human, who was clearly outmatched in terms of technology, would threaten them so boldly. "Retreat," Zorax commanded, in a voice tight with panic. "We must reassess the danger." Before the humans could react, the Zern activated their cloaking devices, disappearing from sight. The man with the rifle blinked, astonished, then lowered his weapon, unsure of what had just transpired. As the men exchanged nervous laughter, trying to rationalize the encounter as a strange prank, the Zern ship rose silently back into the night sky, leaving the humans none the wiser. Back aboard the ship, Zorax struggled to calm the turbulent thoughts racing through his mind. The encounter had shaken him, leaving a mark that no data could erase. The humans' unpredictable shift from curiosity to aggression had revealed a hidden complexity of power that Zorax could not quantify. Fear, a feeling long suppressed among the Zern, now coiled within him like a living thing. The Zern ship drifted through the upper atmosphere, hidden from Earth's radar. Inside, Zorax paced the command room, watching holographic projections of human history and behavior. Images of wars, revolutions, and everyday interactions flashed before him, each scene carrying a weight that the Zern struggled to understand. Human history was a tapestry woven with violence and compassion, anger and love. It was chaotic and irrational, but there was a pattern to it, one that the Zern could not decipher. Zorax's second-in-command, Myrax, approached with a data tablet, his expression troubled. "Leader Zorax, our analysis of Earth's weaponry continues. The humans have developed a wide range of destructive tools, nuclear weapons, ballistic missiles, firearms. Yet, it is not the weapons themselves that are alarming." Zorax looked up sharply. "What do you mean, Myrox?" Myrax hesitated, as if speaking the words gave them more power. "It is their willingness to use them, often driven by emotion, anger, desperation, love for their kin. These concepts elude us, yet they seem to amplify the danger of their actions." Zorax reviewed a scene on the holographic screen, depicting a human soldier leaping in front of a comrade to shield them from gunfire. Another showed a mother shielding her child during a natural disaster, risking her own life. Each act baffled the Zern. Why would a being sacrifice itself for another? The logic was non-existent. But these actions seemed to be the key to understanding the human's unpredictability. As he stared at the images, Zorax's own fear deepened. If the Zerg could not predict when a human would act out of desperation or love, how could they hope to control them? Every simulation the Zerg ran to model human behavior failed, unable to account for the impulsive decisions driven by emotions. The Zerg's analysis of Earth's nuclear arsenal only compounded their fear. They understood the science of these weapons. They could easily disable them with their technology. But the knowledge that a human could, in a moment of rage or fear, initiate such destruction was a realization that filled the Zerg with dread. Humans were willing to risk their own extinction for the sake of an ideal, a belief, or a bond. Zorax turned to his crew, his voice unsteady, the confidence of earlier days slipping away. We have encountered many worlds, many species. Yet never have we faced a race so governed by the whims of their hearts. Their emotions make them more dangerous than any weapon they possess. Myrox nodded in agreement, his unease mirroring that of the crew. They wield emotions as if they were weapons themselves. We cannot anticipate their actions, nor can we manipulate their minds to control these feelings. Their unpredictability, it is a threat we are not prepared for. Zorax's mind raced as he struggled to devise a strategy. The logical course would be to retreat, to abandon this unpredictable world, and find another, safer target. Yet his pride fought against the thought of leaving, of conceding to beings they had considered primitive. We must understand them, Zorax said at last, though his voice held little conviction. If we are to conquer this world, we must decipher the nature of these emotions. Perhaps then we can subdue them. As the Zerg ship orbited Earth, Zorax's decision to continue studying humanity set in motion a conflict that neither side fully understood. The Zerg were beginning to realize that the true challenge was not the weapons humans built, but the power that lay hidden within their hearts, a power that Zorax could no longer ignore, but feared he might never comprehend. Determined to unravel the mystery of human emotions, Zorax devised a bold plan. He would bring a human aboard the Zerg ship and study their emotional responses directly. He selected a remote area just outside Redstone for the abduction, choosing a time when the town would be quiet and unsuspecting. The chosen subject was a young woman named Sarah, a teacher and a new mother who often spent her evenings walking along the desert's edge to clear her mind. One evening, as Sarah wandered the desert under the starlit sky, a green light engulfed her. Before she could react, she found herself inside the dimly lit interior of the Zerg ship, surrounded by tall gray-skinned beings with large, inky black eyes. Fear surged through her, and she backed away, clutching her chest as her heart raced. Zorax, standing at the forefront, observed Sarah's reaction carefully. He extended a slender, three-fingered hand, hoping to convey that he meant no harm. "Human Sarah," he began, using the language module to approximate her name, "we wish to understand. Why do you react this way? Why does fear take hold?" Sarah's mind raced, but she steadied herself, recognizing the curiosity behind Zorax's otherwise cold demeanor. Her fear slowly gave way to confusion, then to an unexpected flicker of determination. If these aliens wanted to understand humans, she would show them the truth. She took a deep breath and met Zorax's gaze. "You took me against my will, and you ask why I'm afraid." Her voice quivered, but grew stronger with each word. "Humans feel fear because it keeps us alive. But we also feel hope, love, anger. And those feelings can make us do incredible things, even if they don't make sense to you." Zorax listened intently, his mind struggling to process her words. He activated a device that scanned Sarah's brain activity, displaying her heightened emotions as colorful waves across a screen. The readings were chaotic, unlike the steady, calm minds of the Zerg. Yet, within that chaos, Zorax sensed a power he couldn't fully grasp, a force that eluded analysis and reason. Sarah, seeing the alien's perplexed expressions, decided to go further. She spoke of her newborn child, of the love she felt for him, so intense that it could drive her to protect him at any cost. She described the grief of losing her parents years ago, and how that pain had shaped her, giving her strength she never knew she had. As she talked, the holographic projections of her emotions fluctuated wildly, displaying the complexity and depth of her feelings. The Zerg crew watched in silent awe, overwhelmed by the realization that humans were not controlled by simple desires or logic, but by something deeper, something untouchable. Even Zorax, who had prided himself on being the embodiment of reason, felt a shiver of unease. He saw in Sarah's eyes a determination and resilience that no technology could measure or replicate. "This is the true power of humans," Zorax whispered, almost to himself. "Emotions that can change their very nature. That can transform fear into bravery, loss into strength." Sarah nodded, her expression softening. "You might not understand it, but it's what makes us who we are. It's why we fight for each other, why we protect our homes even if it means facing something as terrifying as you." Zorax stepped back, his mind spinning. He had thought of humans as primitive, but now he understood that their strength came from a source beyond his comprehension. The unpredictability that he had feared was not a weakness, but a manifestation of something far more powerful than the Zern's logical minds could grasp. He realized then that this world, with its chaotic, passionate inhabitants, was not something that could be subdued through force or superior technology. He turned to Myrox, who looked to him with a mixture of relief and resignation. "We must leave this place," Zorax said, his voice hollow. "These humans, they possess a force that we cannot control. We will report to the High Council that Earth is too volatile, too dangerous to conquer." Myrax nodded, quickly relaying the orders to the crew. Within moments, the ship's engines began to hum with energy, preparing for departure. Sarah felt a tug in her chest as a green beam enveloped her once more, and in a flash, she found herself back in the desert, the cool night air rushing against her skin. She looked up, watching as the alien ship rose silently into the sky, disappearing into the stars. As the Zern ship vanished into the cosmos, Zorax watched Earth grow smaller in the distance, a blue-green dot on the edge of their monitors. He felt a strange sense of relief mingled with his lingering fear. They had escaped the unknown, retreating from a force they could neither predict nor control. Yet a part of him remained haunted by what they had encountered. Back on Earth, Sarah returned to Redstone, trying to process the surreal experience she had just endured. She kept the encounter to herself, knowing no one would believe her story. But she held on to a sense of quiet satisfaction, understanding that the aliens had left, not because of their weapons, but because of what lay within the human heart. As the Zern ship faded into the void of space, Earth remained unconquered, protected not by its technology, but by the power of emotions that the aliens could not hope to understand. The Zern left behind a world that, despite all its flaws and conflicts, harbored a strength that even the most advanced civilizations could not overcome. And somewhere in the vastness of space, Zorax and his crew carried with them a story of the world they could not conquer, and the strange beings who had shown them the true meaning of fear.